So I get an email from Greg Scholl that reads, Dear Sam and fam, recent cancer survivor, come out on the other side of the treatment. Couldn't eat for the better part of 4 months. I'm an aspiring chef, feel very at home watching and listening to you. So the email gets longer, I'll go to the bottom half of it. Just want to say congratulations, brother, for becoming a cancer survivor. It had to be a battle. I can't imagine, I don't know that I ever want to find out, but way to go from all of us. And he writes, I want to upgrade to a gas range, flat top steel griddle built in. I think it would be great to show, to visit the idea of what to look for in a stove, how to shop for one, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. Well, how perfect. Pirch is a sponsor of the show. They just happen to have those things, so I thought we'd make a little visit here today, look at some of the stuff that's there, show you kind of some of the few cool things that are innovating. I can't. Can we fix that? You're not going to let me. You're just going to make me suffer and stand. I wanted you to see some cool shit in the store. That's what I wanted you to see. And maybe help answer your questions. And I'm not going to do prices and stuff like that. I'll leave it up to you, but give you an idea of what wonderful thing. Okay, stop it. Just come on already. Okay, Greg, so we're going to start with ranges. I mean, it was an important part of your question. And so, like, a few things to consider these days. One is, do you want one built in, or are you looking for a cooktop, because the oven components of it will go in a separate part of the kitchen. It's kind of up to you in how you like to work and what your physical layout of your kitchen is like. But one of the things that I think are really important these days are the continuous cooktops. They used to make them that there was a little ring here that you would put your pot on, and then one here, but you couldn't slide a pot. I don't think there's a pot here. I was going to say you couldn't slide a pot across without falling into that little crevice. Sorry, that little crevasse. What I like about it is that I can shift things around. If I'm cooking something and it gets too hot in the pan and I need it less for a second, without manipulating this, I'll just gently push it off to the side. Let it cool for a second, then bring it back. It's a really nice way of working. I know these guys are important to you, flat griddles. I'll tell you this, you see the one that I use on the show. When my stove came, that griddle just sat as an extra piece on top. I took it out of the box and I put it there, thinking I would just look at it. I wanted to see the whole thing complete. And then I thought I'd put it away. Since I don't know how many, 4 or 5 years ago that we did that, I have not taken it off the stove ever, unless I've needed, you know, all the burners, which almost never happens. And I use it probably 6 times a week for almost everything. So whether you get one that fits on top, and I think most manufacturers offer those, or you get one built in like these guys, I think they're a really important piece of how people cook these days. And given a choice, I would rather have mine off to the side like this, rather than breaking up the burners like that. Okay, so clearly there's a lot of options, and you can see what that is. And honestly, take a look. Almost all continuous grates all the way along, because people know that that's an important thing. If you come over here and you take a look at this, or this guy right here, this is a simmer burner. Notice the size. Come take a look, Maxie. Look at these guys. These guys are big here, right? Big one, big one, big one, big one. This little guy gives you a much smaller, much more precise burn. If you were going to be cooking something like a sauce and you needed gentle heat underneath it, it's hard to dial some of the big boys down to get them gentle enough. So the little tiny burners are perfect for that. Wolf, somebody makes a version. Somebody makes a version that they cycle on and off. Can't remember who it is. Thermidor. Thermidor makes one that you can. I've got Executive Chef Brian behind Max feeding me words.
Zero note version, right?
There you go. So Thermidor has one that actually goes on for 10 seconds and then it goes off for 50. On for 10, off for 50, which is really nice. It's perfect for sauces. Okay, while I'm holding this, I'll show you what this is. Want to guess? Max, you want to guess?
For a pot or a wok?
It's a wok ring, which I think is completely useless. I get it. You put it on the thing, then it lets you use the curved thing. But the woks that I have, carbon steel flat bottom. Don't let this be a decision while you buy a stove. Because a carbon steel flat bottom wok, like mine for like 19 bucks, I think that's the way to go. Okay, so on the other side, we looked at just the cooktops. It could be dropped in anywhere. So clearly, this is like a little Volkswagen. This you need space for, but this gives everything all on one side. And what's nice is that there's a big side. Look, I suppose the obvious thing to say would be make them exactly the same size. But it's really nice to have a super wide one for giant pans or for a whole bunch of stuff. Think Thanksgiving. You can stuff this thing up to the gills and you'd be fine. But if you only want to heat up one side, little bit, right here, it's perfect. So these will both be used as regular bake, or they'll have a convection option. But there's something new and very cool that we'll go take a look at. Come on. Oh, you're following me. I like this. Okay. Check this guy out. This is the melee. So what's really cool about this, it's basically like the other side. There's two sides of it, right? This is a regular oven, convection or regular bake. This side is a speed oven and or a convection oven. So you could use this to bake a little cake in like normal. But the speed oven part really combines microwave ability with convectioning. And it doesn't mean that you have to choose one or the other. It means you could start something in here, use microwave on it, then have it go over to convection, or you could use microwave and convection at the same time, thereby reducing your cooking time to like nothing. I think a whole roast beef will cook in like 14 seconds in this thing. Okay, that's completely not true, but that's the idea of it. So this is used like a micro, used like a convection, used both for speed cooking. This is one of the new cool things that there's not been too much technology in these things in the past few years. That's pretty cool. And this melee itself happens to have a warming drawer attached to it, which is nice. I have a warming drawer and I use it for storing my pans in. I've never actually used it to warm anything. Plates. That's where you use it. Use a warming drawer for plates. You have company, don't serve hot food on a cold plate, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't have a warming drawer and don't want a warming drawer, then use your microwave. Put a stack of 6 plates in the microwave and turn it on for a couple minutes. Then you take food out of the oven and you put it on there. Is that good? Good. Refrigerators. Let's go. Oh yeah, before I forget, the other thing you want to consider when buying a cooktop or a whole range, what are the BTUs of the burners? BTUs, British Thermal Units. It's the way flame heat is measured. And a good range to look for. It's anywhere between about 18,000 to 20+ thousand BTUs. Word is one of the manufacturers has a 22,000 BTU burner, but if you're in the 18,000 range, you're going to be happy. That helps you get the kind of super hot cooking that you want for wok cooking. Like, put it this way, you go to a Chinese restaurant, the individual burners that they use are probably in the range of 75,000 BTUs. So we're never going to get that in a residential kitchen, but buy as many BTUs as you can for the heat. All right, so now I hope nobody gets mad at me for saying this. In the refrigerator business, I don't really think there's been a lot of innovation in the past few years. The standard things pretty much still exist. Do you want it to be stainless? And these, of course, here at Pirch, everything's stainless. So, do you want a plain stainless front like this one? Do you want a glass front like this Sub-Zero? And the reality is, I don't want this. I say I want this. I've told Kelly I'd like this. And Kelly goes, oh, you want the glass door that you can see? And I go, yeah, I think it would be great. She goes, okay, go open your fridge right now and take a look. And of course I open the fridge, and it's ridiculous because it would be a horror show. So I wouldn't do that. Fridge on top, freezer on the bottom, that's becoming popular. And it has been for some time. A little bit of a change is fridge, and now freezer. If you want to separate stuff, you know, the big thing up on top, you put big platters in here. The thing on the bottom, the fridge on the bottom is great for reach-in juices and stuff like that. That's what I would use it for. Then if you've got little rats running around, I mean little kids. If you have little kids running around, that's just like their perfect height for them to come over and do this and reach in and take a juice box or something. People still serving those juice boxes? Aren't those things all sugar? Please stop that. They are sugar, right? Start making juice for your kids. Or there's this thing I heard about the other day that's apparently really good for kids. It's called water. Why don't you try that, Orla? See, start the habits young, he says, now that my children are already old and ruined. But it's not too late for you. You got little kids. Water is an interesting thing to start them with because they get into a habit of it. And then they get older and they're going for water instead of going for like the giant 64-ounce massive Coke at 7 o'clock in the morning on the way to work in their car with a cruller on the seat beside them. Well, I didn't mean to get all health and everything on you right now, but so, and then the other, come along, son. Then the other options are, do you want ice on the door? Do you not want ice on the door? And water and stuff like that. Personal preferences. Mine, that I don't see here, it measures the water in ounces. As the water's coming out, it's saying 1, 2, 3 ounces. It's actually pretty cool if you want that. And that's it. Yeah, I don't know. Is there one?
Yes.
Oh, we found one.
Sub-Zero in the front.
Oh, check this out. Okay, so here, look at the inside of this. Okay, remember the inside of this. What are you seeing? You're seeing white.
Yes.
Okay, now check this out. Okay, wait, stop here. Look at this one. So this is, I don't know who makes this. This is, it's a Miele, right? So you've got fridge, you've got freezer down here, which is nice. Kind of like the freezer on the bottom. I'm starting to dig that. And a built-in wine cooler on that side. Holy smokes. With a lot of room for wine. That's pretty. That's a pretty fridge. I like that. All right. And then of course, if you don't want stainless, I mean, they make if this is what your cabinets are like, you can get this to go in the front of your, well, this is an elevator, of course, but you can get the cabinet, you know what I'm talking about. Oh. Now we're talking. Go all the way. Look at that. That's beautiful, huh? Stainless. You like that?
Damn.
This is like Sub-Zero. This is serious stuff here, boy. And there's doubles of both. And look at how nice. Come check this out. Look how nicely this is laid out. These sections in here. That I could get behind this. I could really get behind that.
Here.
Same thing down here? No, just a big drawer. It's nice. So that's the option. And by the way, I did hear that Genair is coming out with one that's alabaster inside. Do you know what alabaster is?
No.
Neither did I. I mean, I thought I knew. It's like a dark brown. There isn't one here. It's not even out yet. Alabaster inside. Think how dramatic that would make your food, right? But you have an alabaster interior for your fridge, everything's got to be really neat, I'm thinking. And red and green. Lots of limes in a bowl. Gorgeous. All right, so ranges, cooktops. Let's go look at some special stuff, because there are some innovating things. Greg even referred to a mushroom-looking thing. We'll go look at that right now. Come on. All right, so check this out. So this is, at Pirch, this is called the patio. Look, it's very outdoorsy. It's very, at the risk of hurting any women, it's a very man-esque. Because it's about grilling and and outdoorsy stuff, and we're men, and that's what we do. Maybe, I don't know. But so this is the thing that Greg was asking about. Check this out. So this, Max just bumped himself on a chair. This is called the Evo. Evo. It's this mushroom deal. You ready for this? Boom, look at that. So that is basically a 30-inch circle of cast iron. Think of it like a cast iron pan that's been turned upside down. And anything you want to cook on this thing, you can. We're getting ready to start thinking about doing stuff in the backyard. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're thinking about doing stuff in the backyard, and this baby would be an important part of it. So what it's got inside, hold on. Look. Why must I torture myself with this? Let me see if I know how to do this. Keep watching. Look at, so 2 separate rings, right? And what that means is that you can have them at different temperatures. You could have one off, the center off, just cook stuff on the outside. But what it's really meant for is, let's say you had skewered beef, like you were doing a satay thing. Skewered beef skewers all the way around the outside, and then the center one turned down lower, and maybe a little pot with some sauce in the middle that people could take their skewers and dip in there and bring back down onto the thing. It's really, really fantastic. I can't, oh God, it's so heavy, it's so heavy. Oh. Imagine how many eggs you could do on this thing, or pieces of bacon, or grilled cheese sandwiches, or hamburgers, or hot dogs. This thing belongs. I'll be bold in saying that every home in America, they're not paying me to say this. And you can get the indoor version like this, I mean the built-in version like this for outside or inside, or they make them on a cart. That's the mushroom thing Greg was talking about. I guess while we're here, we could always talk about a hearth. And the important thing, look, I know that this is something that not everybody's putting into their house, but the one thing I will say, I call it a hearth and not a pizza oven, because the tendency is to just cook pizza in it if it's a pizza oven. But really, it's just a nice, big, warm, a pizza oven. A hearth was the original convection oven because of the shape. I don't know if you can see the shape in there, Maxie, but they go like this. So the way that the heat comes down helps cook foods much faster. But they're good for steaks, they're good for casseroles, they're good for chickens, they're good for stews. Anything you would do in a regular oven. Oh, that was awful. Anything you could do in a regular oven, you could do in a hearth, and should do in a hearth. And this is a gas one. You can put actual logs in this thing if you wanted to. The advice that I've gotten is the gas ones, at least use them to start the fires going, because they can take a long time. All right, steam ovens. Okay, so if you believe the Pirch people, and you have absolutely no reason not to, a steam oven like these guys are like the hottest thing in appliances as I stand here in 2015 in February. Here's what's cool about them. So they can be used either as just a plain standalone convection oven, or they can be used as convection with steam or just steam. Remember the speed oven we talked about? You could use the speed, like the microwave part, and the convection part, same thing, except convection and steam. So you open it up, looks fairly normal like a regular oven, push the water button, and then this little door opens up. We'll see that again, because that's always fun. And then you literally put water into it, because as we all know from TV, because I didn't learn this in school. I mean, I might have, but I just don't remember. I know steam, though, needs water. So the water goes in, and then you set it. And vegetables and cakes cooked with steam along with the convection or the baking part makes them really moist and beautiful. I had an event at the Pirch in Atlanta, and I needed a whole lot of mashed potatoes for a Saturday event I was doing there. I made them by hand. I know how to make mashed potatoes. by hand on the Friday, seal them up in a big metal pan, put them in the fridge. The next day I had to heat them up for this event. So now I'm thinking my options for heating up a lot of mashed potatoes. I could put them in the oven, which I think would put a crust on top. I think it would make it kind of weird and I wouldn't like that. I could put them in a pot on the stove, but unless you stand there the whole time stirring the mashed potatoes on super low heat, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get that brown burnt layer on the bottom that's going to get stirred in and make them ugly. So I took the whole pan, saran over the top in the steam oven, and walked away for about a half an hour. I came back and they were the most perfect mashed potatoes. You thought I had just finished whipping them right then and there. Steam oven. Might not be for everybody, but I'm telling you, it's coming to a kitchen near you very soon. Okay, more cool stuff. So I don't know that Greg specifically asked about grills, but while we're here, it seems like a waste not to show. So you'd all recognize what these guys are. In fact, this one has that flat griddle part built into it, which is nice for an option if you want to do vegetables or something on that side. So fairly normal, everything's fine. These guys are a version of the green egg. You've seen the green egg, they're green. This company's called Caliber. They're starting to make these in really cool colors, which is very nice. And what I like especially about this one, check this out. Watch the way this works. This lifts up, so when you want to add more charcoal to this thing right here, you don't have to take the whole thing off. I think that's a really good idea. All right, but wait, now there's two really cool things. One's right over here, Maxie, check this out. And the two cool things both have to do with lids. Some form of innovation is coming to grilling, it's fantastic. So this is just a big Fire Magic grill, right? You can see it's nice, it's a big grill. Anything amazing here? Yes, when you do this. Ready? It's got a window in it. Give me a freaking break. Imagine all the time that you've spent standing around the grill going, was it ready? Well, I don't know, open the lid. Well, all the heat will come out. Well, I don't know, and then you do this thing. Sorry, Max, then you do this. You get down really low and you try and look. There's no more of that. Now you just go, is it ready? Yes, it's beautiful. And by the way, I know a lot of people when they buy grills, the rotisserie part comes with it. They take it off, they dismantle it, and they put it away. Never to be seen from again. Get the rotisserie out. What you can do with this thing is outstanding. Outstanding. Okay, one more really cool thing. Let's look at this guy. So this is I don't know who he is, I just know it's very cool, a David Rockwell designed grill, right? So beautiful by itself. I like the color, I like the combination of the wood here, the wood down here, it's really gorgeous. And these huge ass knobs, really cool. But you ready for the really best part of this thing? Here we go. It's a lid, it's a lid, it's a lid, it's a lid. It's not a lid anymore, the lid is gone. Think about it, you could have this in the middle of your yard. It's now like a giant foosball table / grill. I mean, you can't foosball on it. But it's basically the size of it. But grills before, with a lid up on one side, you're completely limited to who would be able to stand around it. Now, these guys, I think they've just invented the term social grilling. That's what this is. Maybe I just invented the term social grilling. Because when it's up like this, nobody on this side is having any of the fun. Now look, now it just disappears into the back. And what did that take? It took a good hinge and a couple slices in the back for the handle to go into. I love it when people think up this kind of stuff. And maybe because David Rockwell's a designer of design things. Doesn't even make sense. I couldn't be here today and not show you what I guess is the gold standard in ranges. Certainly the most expensive range in the building. I realize it's not for everybody. It's hardly for anybody. It's for Quincy Jones because he has one, but and tell me again, Brian, how much? Say it quietly.
115.
115? 115. $115,000. Ridiculous, right? But I have to show you because it's here. It's a La Cornue. There's the name. La Cornue. They've been making them since 1908 in France, which of course it's French, so that's going to add to the price tag. well, we'll sell this to the Americans, and here it's only $25,000, but the Americans have a lot of money, or the entertainment will drive the price way the hell up for them. Don't hate me for that terrible French accent. Hate me because I'm stupid, not for that. But it does have an interesting thing up here that's called a French top. This is a French top. You'll find this in many professional restaurant kitchens, maybe not attached to a La Cornue because other people do it, but you can see the burner is inside, right? And the main part of the heat clearly is in the center. When you have a pot on here and it's cooking and you want less heat, off that way, little less, little less, little less, little less. And it wouldn't be for like a stew or something. Generally, a French top would be used for something that's pretty delicate. If you were making a, I don't know, very special omelet or something. Brian, what would you use a French top for?
I use it for melting chocolate on the edges, sauteing in the middle.
Melting chocolate on the edges and sauteing in the middle, right? So that makes sense. Little pot over here, gentle amount of heat. Could regular people like us do it by turning our burner way down or using that little simmer burner? Of course. But if you got an extra 115, just laying around, the La Cornue might just be for you. And I couldn't show you the La Cornue range without showing you the La Cornue Flamberge. It's a rotisserie. But the most amazing one, so this is pork belly that they put on here in the morning and they cook throughout the day and then they use it the next day. But these vegetables will cook. This is going to cook very slowly and gently. You've seen, I'm sure, in many restaurants that have demonstration kitchens that you can look into. These familiar little white, I don't know what that stuff is made of, but somehow that helps hold the heat, and these things are very popular. In the chef world, regular folks, not so much. Would I like one of these? I would. You know what a chicken or a whole roast or something like that is like after being on this thing for a bunch of hours? It's fantastic. Probably not in my future, but I wanted you to see it because I love it. Well, I think we did well. I think we covered the high points. There are no low points to cover. The stuff these days is beautiful. It's got to work for you. So find somebody good to work with, somebody can ask the questions like, how do you want to work and cook in your kitchen? That's the important stuff. Not what you want. If you walk into a store and they say, yeah, what do you want? I guess it's an obvious question, but the better question is, what do you want and how are you going to use it? How do you like to cook? That's the important thing. Because based on what you like to do, it might be completely different pieces of equipment that fit for that. It's a good cappuccino. All right, that's it for me. More shows coming up. Thanks for being here. Greg, I hope we answered your questions. Cheers.